Yeah. I know you got problems, know you at the bottom, know you took a loss today. Everybody want bottles, living for a throttle, you just want ball today. Tell me joy, where it's hiding, I've been trying to find it before I go all the way. Cause everybody got problems, everybody starving, but don't you go off today.
Yo, this is the All Done Podcast. This is your auntie's favorite podcast. Welcome to all our viewers. My name is Tracy. That's my guy, Mike. How you feeling, Mike?
February 1st, 2014, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It is now March, Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. The color is orange. For those of you who don't know, it is a neurological condition where pretty much your immune system attacks your nervous system, and the symptoms vary depending on where it causes lesions or scarring from your brain to the base of it. What's good, Tracy? How you doing, my brother?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. I appreciate the education. I'm sure all the viewers do as well. People that listen. My guy is strong out here, still very much so fighting that on the daily, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's the thing. I'm living with MS. You feel me? But it ain't beat me. I'm here.
Yeah. So what we talking about tonight, man? I mean, it's just MS Awareness Month. So give me a topic people can get behind.
I'm gonna give you a topic people get behind. I want to talk about whose fault. And no, that's not really what it is. It's not really whose fault, but accountability. We will talk about accountability for self, or I guess in a way it is whose fault, and what's the vibe on that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, this is one of our favorite topics, and I think everything kind of in some way, form, or fashion circles back around this topic of accountability and who's responsible for your life, the decisions that you make, the life that you're leading now. Who's at, like my guy said, fault. So what is how are we gonna kick this off? What's the first question about accountability? Because it might seem black and white or simple to certain people, but something tells me it's a complex concept.
So let's jump straight into it. We talk about, people that look like us in our community and where we are with it. And we all always agree that the dominant society is to blame from where we're at for the most part, but how much of that rests on our shoulders now? Because we've been free a while, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
We've been free a while. We able to move freely. We're able to make our own decisions. The same quote unquote opportunities are available to us. So, where we at with it? You feel me?
Got a problem with pretty much everything you just said. So yeah, let's stop. Let's start there. So I like having these conversations about accountability and people starting points, so on and so forth. So we're not. I mean, we'll get to Black accountability and kind of where we came to be where we are, but to take it off us, let's talk about the women's movement, right? There was a moment in time where women couldn't vote. There were certain things that were set up so that they would be subjugated and pretty much put into the category of second-class citizens. And so there was a time when that was a really relevant reality for many women in America. Fast forward many years, women have the vote. We have a female vice president. Can we look at women now, knowing their history, and say, hey, no, those things shouldn't have affected you. What would it matter if there was a certain time period where men would beat and rape and get away, and the wage gap between men and women, and you talk about things like a glass ceiling. All that stuff we're past it now. You're good. So you're just automatically, right? So to me, okay, at what point? Was it January 1st, 1982, when women the switch was flipped and then they were just able to be accountable for themselves, barring all the other stuff that happened previously?
I don't think I'll never say forget about it, let it go, as far as when it comes to the past. I'll never make that statement. I think certain people set a jumping point, and at some point, a lot of us fumble that. You feel me? We don't jump from that point.
Go ahead and explain what. I mean, so we can. I mean, my example for women, I think, was good. But let's get into what jumping point was set for African Americans.
All right, so I say this to a brother I work with a lot, older guy, Uncle Tomish, you feel me?
Yeah.
Give me real Uncle Ruckus vibes, you feel me? So that's where I'm at with it. And all the time he says, well, he all the time he say, well, these young black people, they don't want to do anything. They just want to kill, blah, 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 whatever his vibes are with that. So I always say to him, I was like, yo, you're older, so you're a generation before me. Let's say that, because I'm not the youngest person in the world, but you're a generation before me, right? Yeah. So the generation before that was, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the movement, so to speak.
Civil rights, yeah.
Yep, the whole civil rights movement. So what did his generation provide? Like, what did they add to that? You feel me? So I feel like,
I mean, we've had this conversation before. That's not right. So I guess what my point would be, okay, so what's the argument that I agree to a certain degree that yes, it was his generation's responsibility to move it forward and not, but then you got to think about the outside factors, right? So now you're talking about the crack epidemic, mass incarceration, Jim Crow, right? So are those things that a one individual could control or dictate? Oh, these are kind of things that are happening.
Well, sure. I think when you look at like a team or whatever, it's a group of individuals working toward a common goal.
Sure.
Right. So with that being said, do you do crack?
I don't like that analogy though, because
I'm asking a question. No, I asked the question. Do you do crack?
I do not do crack. No, I'm not.
Do you cocaine? You on the cocaine train?
I have never partaken in any sort of booger sugar. No.
Okay, cool. So with that being said, you made that conscious decision to not do that. You feel me?
Sure.
And I mean, I'm pretty where we're from. There was probably opportunities for you to pop, some hit a line, but you made a decision not to because you realize that's not where you want to go or where you want your future to go. You feel me? And there are pressures for whatever reason, like, the way you living life or what you're going through. I'm stressed, this, that, and the third. But we people like us made that decision. Now there's other ways. So that goes back to accountability. Like, I can't blame anyone for your personal decision to pick up that pipe.
I disagree. I think absolutely. So we have to really think hard about the word decision here when we're talking about this, right? So let me set a scenario for you. I'm Mr. Man in the 70s and 80s, right? Drugs are starting to kind of really become a thing, right? You got the propaganda machine rolling, right? Right? Everybody's Blow and Studio 54 in the 70s, and there was an aura around getting high, right? Like,
yeah, as a certain
right. There's a nostalgia. There's a vibe. I think that I like that phraseology. There's a vibe to getting high, right? So there's propaganda. People are poor, right? You got some of these individuals, and then in some of these neighborhoods, and we could talk about redlining and white flight and some of the housing and regulations that Black people, but it was a bad living situation, right? For the sake of this podcast, we could just agree that many Black people were not living in a lapse of luxury, so to speak.
Agreed.
All right, so I'm a Black person. I'm in some form of poverty. Maybe not even poverty, but I'm not living. It ain't great, right? My neighborhood's not great. Right, we're coming off the back of the civil rights movement. They're killing Black people, murdering leaders. At what point do you think all those factors play a role in the decision that you make?
Okay, so once again, you say that, and I respect it, but
you think surrounded by crack, you would have been good. Surrounded by crack, poverty, violence, crime, You going to work, you making good decisions, and those are your decisions.
Wait, so now here's my question: Were we not surrounded by that?
Yeah,
maybe not to the super extreme extent, but we were. We knew people who cut up cocaine and sold it. You feel me? We were in a pretty much like a lower class area. You know, we had fun, we made it happen, but neither one of us ended up on, you know, crack or, you know, drugged out anywhere. And I'm not, and I believe that'll delve into another conversation with mental health and mental stability about whatever.
Right.
But
so all those things do affect your ability to make a decision.
They do, but like I said, we made the conscious decision. That's not going to be us. That's not going to be me. I'm not going to live that life.
So I know a lot of people who said that. And you know what? It was probably easier said than done. I think there were times when you had to go out of your way to avoid some of those things.
You had a hard time saying no to crack?
I'm not saying I had a hard time saying no to crack, but I'm definitely saying that I have understanding for individuals that I know that are locked up now, that it's not that they didn't say no, it's that what was the other path? Right? Like, so I'm saying that the choices I made wasn't because I was just making a decision. It was because I could see something better for myself. Right? For whatever reason. I mean, then there were many, but I could see something better for myself. I'm telling you that if you come from a certain household and you can't see something better for yourself, again, these external factors hindering this whole concept of you making a decision. Because to me, that's not your decision. One brother we grew up with, do you think he had a decision? And I would say he grew up, probably his house was nice, supportive parent, round the corner, played ball, right? I would say he had a decent upbringing, right? You would think.
Mm-hmm. So with this individual, what makes him, because he hung out with us.
He did.
So that we were his crowd for the most part, right?
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part,
in the daytime.
Up until probably like 8th grade, maybe 9th.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You're not even making choices at that point. I'm saying that the decision was taken out of his hands.
I think you are making decisions at that point. Mm-hmm. So to some extent, yes, you are, because I can only say he hung out with us. It was 4 of us that hung out together. Mm-hmm. 3 of us didn't choose crack.
Sure.
And like you said, we kind of grew up the same way in the same area. He's around the corner, had a supportive parent, had supportive friends. But 3 of the 4 said, I'm not going to do crack.
And he came from some other, and I don't know if the brother ever did crack, but
I just use that as an example. But we chose.
Yeah, he dabbled in some different types of activities.
So even if let's take what you said and say, well, the environment or the pressures or whatever the case may be. So at what point in his life, as he get older, does he say, yo, that was my fault? Let me correct.
I think in order for him to heal from those traumas, he has to do that eventually at some point.
That doesn't take accountability for his actions.
That doesn't change the responsibility of the environment around him, though.
I'm not trying to take away responsibility from anybody. From it. That's my point exactly. So I'm not trying to take away responsibility from or accountability from Big Brother, but on the same token, I'm gonna put some accountability and some blame on you.
Well, what are we talking about then? Because I think obviously we all have free will. I'm saying there are many external factors. So we're talking about certain individuals that are in certain neighborhoods dealing with certain type of traumas. I'm gonna give you are 20% accountable if the joint didn't turn out the way it was supposed to. Because no one grows up. He didn't grow up thinking like, oh man, can't wait till I'm in 8th grade so I could not pass and drop out. That wasn't the goal. So when you say, oh, he made a decision. No, he didn't make a decision. Life happened to him in part because of the color of his skin and the circumstance.
All right.
So I would give him 20. You're right. Okay, individual accountability, like I said, 20%. 25 max.
So what makes here's what I'm missing from this. What makes us different than him? Like I said, we all grew up in the same area. We hung out together, did a lot of the same things together. So what makes us what made us say in middle school, well, no, I'm not getting left back in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade 3 times. What made us say that?
I think, like I said earlier, it was really all about you could see it. Right? You could see it. I could see it. I could see like that wasn't me. And I had points of reference, as many of us did growing up. I had an uncle. I had a mother. I had people who I seen my grandfather used to say, and it was a great quote. A fool learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from others' mistakes. And so it is not crazy to think that a human being has to go out and make their own mistake to get the lesson.
They do, but so now that brings me back to the bigger picture as a people. So even if it is 20%, that 20% is huge.
I mean, compared to the 80 of all those other external figures,
yeah, but
20% is your only chance to make it to subsistence. Because I'm not living some lap of luxury. I'm still very much grinding to try to put the plays together, because of what we came from. And so
but you also know, because of what you're going against, you have to I have to do this. I have to make these moves. I have to live this way.
Okay, so my situation, that doesn't mean I don't make mistakes along the way.
It's not that you don't make mistakes, but you refuse to accept, well, this is just it.
I mean, I can't with the weight of again, let's take it back to, because I don't just like to pinpoint on Black people. I like to talk about other oppressed groups throughout American history. There were many women, and still to this day, but there are many women who were in that housewife stereotype that never thought that was a problem, right? Because that's all that they really knew. It was kind of like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my role. I am relegated to this responsibility. Oh, he hits me sometimes. Well, that's just kind of part of it.
He showed he loves me.
Right? Like, there were only a few women who were like, nah, I'm not with the bullshit. That's not okay. Right? So it's the same type of theories that, not everyone can. Not everyone can. And that doesn't put it on that woman that is accepting whatever she's accepting in a time of oppression. That just means, hey, like, maybe more people coming along maybe can make her see it.
So I just have an issue with shifting almost all the blame off an individual. I'm gonna give you an example. I like to use stuff that's more personal to me. So we're on a highway. Mm-hmm. We're all on the highway where nobody drives the 55 speed limit, the 75 speed limit on a highway. Everybody goes over that. Let's just be real.
I don't, but okay. Speak
for yourself, bro. Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
You're a goddamn criminal.
Yeah, well, I get pulled over. I get pulled over.
Honesty here on the All Done Podcast. Go ahead. You get pulled over.
I get pulled over.
Yeah.
Now, do I blame the cop for pulling me over? Kind of. Do I say, well, everybody else is doing it? I can, but the honest answer to that is, yeah, I was speeding. You just happened to catch me in that moment. So that's my accountability. Like, I was speeding. I did this wrong.
So all those men that were subjugating women, and then the one that finally gets called out and prosecuted for subjugating or abusing a woman, but everyone else is doing it. It's the 1940s. Everyone else is doing it. Why am I the one?
But he has to accept that accountability for that. Like, yo, nah, clearly it was wrong. I did it. I was wrong. Like, my bad.
We are in the life is not, right? My grandfather always used to say this: life is not so black and white, right? Like, there is a very large area of gray that I think to be successful, to even function at a high level, you got to be willing to accept that, Like there is no right or wrong answer. I think not enough. So when you're talking about individual accountability, that's fine. An individual can choose to put that accountability on themselves or not. The problem is you have institutional structures that put the accountability on you in a major way, many times without thinking about all those other X factors that we talked about. Right? So when you're speeding and maybe the other people are speeding, right? What are you coming? We don't consider, why are you speeding? Right? Are you racing home so you can get your kids so that you don't got to pay the babysitter extra because you really don't got that? Mm-hmm. We don't consider the why enough. And I think that's my point. And in many cases, sometimes when you start to talk about individual accountability, you allow the machine to be bailed out. And that's problematic.
I can see that, but I still think we got to put a certain amount on ourselves anyway.
How much? Give me I
don't think 20 is enough.
How much? Give me the percentage.
I'm up there like 35, 40.
Oh, Lord. Lord, is that what the kids are saying these days? Lord, oh no.
I don't know what the kids are saying these days.
You can't. 40 is almost, that's almost half and half.
Because I believe at some point we have to, like, I only can use us as, like you decided I'm gonna, you know what, my brand's gonna grow. I'm going to start prosperity for people, for these groups that we talk about, these oppressed groups, so we can grow, so we can change our mindset. So if you don't think there's no change in your mindset, because in order to change your mindset, you got to accept my mindset is messed up anyway.
Which is and that's what I'm saying. People make these quantum leaps, like this stuff is just easy to do. It's not easy to be in a mindset for X amount of years, however long, and just come back and be like, you know what? My whole thought process for the last 5 years was stupid.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying when you decide, hey, no, I got to make this change. Whatever you might not think, I got to make this change. So you might not think my mindset is wrong, but I got to do something to change. And then when you start getting around, like-minded people who wants to change, then you start to think, well, what am I doing wrong?
That's an assumption, right? That there are people around you that'll give you that game. Maybe the individual that we were talking about earlier had 3 other people who maybe saw a different vision than the one that he was living for himself in the neighborhood that we all grew up in. But many times, right, if you have a messed up mindset, you don't surround yourself with people that are countering or trying to challenge that, which is why you still see the Klan is still around, right? Which is why you still see, right? Because those people aren't going around like, hey, let me talk to some good old Black people that are going to challenge my mindset about hating people. Like, that's why. Like, it's not.
But you know what? But that's on the individual, right? Because like what you just said is you don't hang out with people who don't have that mindset. You choose to go, well, they see it like I see it. Let me be there. But that's a choice. I choose to put myself in situations that make me uncomfortable because it may groom me. It may groom me. Who wants to?
Yeah, who wants to do that?
I don't think it's a want to. I think it's a need to.
Do you think the majority of individuals in some sort of in life, right? Because the majority of us, life is hard. Yeah, you got your 1%, 2%, 3% where it's like, yeah, we control and everything. We got the money. We don't have problems. But the majority of individuals that this podcast speaks for are everyday people that have everyday problems. I'm gonna have an everyday problem. I don't really like my job. My kids be getting on my nerves. My significant other's annoying. I got bills. Adulting is hard. You know what? In my little leisure time, let me just go ahead and go challenge myself some more. Let me go ahead and go out here and explore and challenge the ideals that give me some sense of foundation in my life.
From roughly around, I don't know exact time, from 8 to really around 8 today, what'd you do?
I was working.
You was working.
Hold up.
So now got home around 9 o'clock.
Something like that, yeah.
What are you doing now?
I'm working.
working, but working on you. Yeah. So like one of my favorite things I've been seeing lately, like if you're willing to give these bigger companies, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours of your time a day, take an hour or two to work on you. So yes, you're tired. Yes, I started off at the beginning of this podcast with me talking about me being diagnosed with MS. So being tired is just my life. I can sleep for 12 hours and wake up and still be fatigued, but I also know, well, there's something better. So I can be better at something.
Have you seen people succumb to MS and the symptoms and the life that comes with that?
Absolutely.
And so would you tell those people, would that be your response? Hey, you gotta figure it out. Your mindset needs to be better. Or would you say, hey, healthcare system, you need to create avenues so that people living with this illness are not dealing with it as tough as they are. We need to have some equity so that these individuals can live some sort of normal life. I agree with what you're saying, and I am 100%. But I only think that way because I know the establishment don't give a damn about us, and they're not going to play it fair. Your healthcare system's not coming to step in for individuals who have MS who need extra support. They're not coming. They're not doing that for free. That's not about to happen. And so my mindset is out of necessity, not because it's right, because it's not right. I should not have to do the things that I do in order to try to create my success. You should not have to, I'm tired as hell with MS and I still have to go to work, right? There should be systems, procedures, and policies in place so that we can prevent those types of things.
But it's not black and white. So we know, wait. No, so we know. That's not black and white. Because no. What should be and what actually is are two different things.
Okay, so tell me.
I should be rich and walking around in my multi-million-dollar house. No, but I'm not.
We can't. Tell me why the healthcare system can't say individuals diagnosed with MS will only work 5 hours a day, and the federal government or whoever will make up the difference in their salary.
You said why can't they?
Yeah, why can't they do that?
Well, you know what? I'm not a part of that system. I can't answer that. But
you're not a part of that system.
Well, no. I'm not the healthcare system. I can't answer that. But what I can,
you pay taxes.
Wait. But what I can say is, like you said, I'm not going to succumb to that. I'm not going to say, well, I just be a bum and not calling anybody a bum, but I just lay around and I know I'm about to lose my vehicle, but I'm not gonna go to work because I got MS, huh?
That's moot though. That's a moot point, bro. That doesn't.
Why?
Because our mentality, that's fine. That's cool. God gives us all gifts. That doesn't mean because you have that gift to have a positive mentality that it is your giving because you've justified the system's brutality in many ways towards us.
I don't want to take it. I don't want to take anything off the system because they should. You're right. I shouldn't have to, go through what I go through as far as pain, my body being in pain, not having full feeling on my right side, memory loss, all that, and work, and still struggle to make it happen because they're not willing to suffer. I shouldn't. But the reality is, we do.
No, I don't know. No, that is a mentality that we have to get away from. We have
reality.
Yes, that is a reality that we have. That is a narrative that we have to continue to challenge.
Wait, we can't get away from reality. Reality is real.
All right, so maybe reality.
Wait. What we're doing is me and you trying to create avenues to change that.
We are. That's going to take forever. We're young.
It's going to take a while, but we're going to keep fighting the fight. So we won't lay down and take it, right?
No, we won't. But like you said, you couldn't fault a person that you've seen with MS if they were like, yo, I can't. Because everybody ain't built like me and everybody ain't built like you. And that's why you have a government. And that's why you have a healthcare system to help the individuals who need it. And obviously, like I've stated many times on this wonderful podcast, they have failed and they continue to fail. Regardless of how our mentality is to it and how we respond to those failures, that's fine. I agree. Yes. Once you acknowledge their failures, yes, I will say you can't acknowledge their failures and then be like, okay, bet, I'm sunk. Yes, you have to acknowledge their failures and continue to push the system and change the narrative.
Use it to learn and grow.
But do not ever for a moment tell me that my mentality needs to change and then that's going to make my life better. No, the system needs to do what it's supposed to do. And it
agree. I'm not taking anything off the system,
I mean,
but I am putting.
You are 40%. That's a lot to put on an individual. That's a lot.
Because it's your life.
It is, yeah, but all those other factors.
We already see. Nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody's going to.
No, that is unacceptable.
It's not. That's what it is.
No, it doesn't.
Whether you want to accept.
I'm saying.
But the thing is, you saying it's unacceptable. But yet and still, your mindset is, well, I gotta get it. It's not given to me.
Yeah, because everybody's not me. It's billions of people.
So even when you do, and even when you do make a mistake, you say, well, this is where I messed up. That's my fault. Yeah. This is my fault. Let me fix that. So that's what I mean by accountability. So in the grand scheme of things, yes, Big Brother should be doing way more than they offer us. Maybe in the form of reparations, maybe in the form, just get your foot off our neck, honestly. Just stop.
40%. So how can you say that and then say it's 40% on the individual?
Because I feel like of a lot of people, if they do start giving those handouts,
that is not what it is. It is not a handout. That's their mentality. Their mentality is to say, or y'all want a handout, or a person with MS, you want a handout. No.
So wait, okay. So when they're
supposed to do.
Let's say they do what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
What I pay them, which we pay them to do.
Okay, cool.
What they are elected to do.
We're gonna go with that. They're doing what they're supposed to do. There's still gonna be people with that mindset. Well, it's really too inconvenient for me to go. Yeah, rolling out the vaccine for free. But it's really inconvenient for me to go.
All right, now we want to talk about the vaccine.
I just use that example because that's what came to mind. Because whether you want, whether you want to take it or not, that's your personal decision.
Okay,
but
that's something different.
But let's say everybody said yes, I want to take it. Okay, but then it's gonna be like, it's too inconvenient for me to go. Blah blah blah.
Okay, so you're saying how many people are in that vein versus the people that I just don't have the means? Okay, fine. We don't address the obvious here on the All Done Podcast. Obviously, we're not talking about the lazy MFer that just don't want to go take care of their business, because I do not feel that is the majority. Or do you have a couple in every group that are just, you a fuck up, you're going to be a fuck up, whatever. I am disregarding those. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the individuals. I try every day. I work my 12 hours. I try to take care of my kids. I try to do everything that I can that society tells me that will make me successful. And obviously, due to all the systematic constraints, I still come up short.
But once again, even with that, you're not willing to lay down. Like, I came up short, but I tried everything.
Person, if they were, I don't. I have an absolute empathy for individuals that get to a certain point. And I think, I'll be totally honest with you. I think that's how my mother passed away. My mother was 51 years old, worked several jobs, killed herself trying to make robbing Peter to pay Paul, as people so distinctly put it when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. And her body gave out. She had nothing left to give. Right? Diabetes and medicine is expensive. Right? Medicaid ain't nearly what it should be. Right? Like, people that are trying, and this system in society is still failing some of those individuals. Many of them, I would say. To the point where I know what it feels like to get to a point. And just because, like I said, I guess that's my superpower. I'm a humble guy, but that's something that I do. I bounce back. I'm good at it. I'm good at saying.
You're very resilient.
I'm good.
I believe we're both very resilient.
Exactly. But that can't be like, oh, well, just everyone needs to do that. No, then what do I have a government for?
But
why am I electing these people?
But you've also made the argument before, like, well, we got to get to the point where we don't need that.
We do, because now I am thinking about moving forward, but that don't mean I'm not going to keep my foot on their ass, because they're
I don't, and like I said, I don't want to seem like I'm saying that. Well, nah, we're going to completely let them off the hook.
40%, bro, 40% on the individual.
Because I think as we still have to grind as an individual. I think we still, as individuals, we got to go out there like, yo, they ain't gonna give it to us. I'm gonna take it, pretty much. I'm gonna go get it.
I mean, yeah, but then you get into the R word, and then you get into people starting to, but then, right? So you can't have it both ways. I'm gonna go out and take it. That's what criminals do. You've created this stigma. You've put me in this ghetto, these projects, this poverty, decimated communities, no resources, no economics. What am I gonna go do? In their mind, it's like, this is getting to it. This is my only option. There's my choice. You've laid it out for me.
I never knocked that individual, but they also didn't say I'm just gonna lay here and wither away, like whatever.
It's the same.
Now, their mindset, they might be misguided on how to get it. Or who am I to say they are misguided on how to get it?
I wouldn't say that they are.
I'm gonna say, who am I to say they are misguided on how to get it? I wouldn't
say that they are, because the system left them no choice.
But once again, they didn't sit down, they didn't lay down like, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Nah, I'm out here. I'm out here doing what I can to make it happen.
I think if you talk to some elders, they would say that choosing a certain lifestyle is laying down something. I've definitely talked to some elders that are like, you choose that route, it's only going to lead. You've heard this. You choose that route, it's only leading you two places, right?
Mm-hmm. I've heard it, but they're trying to make a difference for themselves and their family. Wow. Now, granted,
mentality to say like, yo, I got to get to it no matter what.
That's our same mentality.
I'm saying they shouldn't have to. I'm saying they shouldn't have to.
I don't think. All right, so here's where we're disagreeing, and I believe. I think you're saying they shouldn't have to. We're both saying they shouldn't have to. Like, we shouldn't have to, but there's a reality we live in. You feel me? That's a reality we live in. So I know Big Brother got their foot on my neck, everything. I gotta move a certain way, or I'm perceived a certain way. But on the same token, I'm still out here like, yo, I gotta get it. Like we speak all the time about different, business ventures or whatever. So we come up with different stuff, and we may fail. We may not even I take accountability on one of my skills is I cook. It is my fault that I don't have some type of kitchen or restaurant or food truck available already. That's somebody else's fault. I mean, granted, Big Brother makes it harder for me to get that small business loan I need. But if there's other avenues, I can do something to make that happen. And it could have been, stand on the corner, move and wait until I was able to afford it. See, and it's gonna kind of take a turn, but that's how I feel. That's why current drug dealers I know, yeah, you kind of making it happen. But back in the day when drug dealers was moving weight and they was selling drugs, it was for something. They opened up a barbershop. They opened up a cleaners.
And I think the institution doesn't understand that. The point, many of my OGs that were in that life, they always told me, if you're in it to flip legit.
Yeah. But I don't see in that now. That here's where I have it. I don't think a lot of people are in it for that now. I think they're in it for the glorification of it. Like, I got the best product on the block. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I think I don't like to discuss that faction of individuals who are doing it wrong, because there are so many people trying to do it right.
And like I said, I don't. Well, let me just go from what I see around me.
Go ahead.
Because I'm just saying that's my point. From what I see around me, that they're in it so they can go in a club and have big stacks of money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
So why though? Right? Why? Do you think they would do that if they could go to grocery store X, Y, and Z and make money to live a comfortable lifestyle and have a good time that way? Do you think that they would choose a criminal path?
I think some would, some wouldn't.
I
know some that's from well-to-do families. Well-to-do is a little extreme, but like you said, supporter families who's willing to put them on the right path. But you know what? The glorification of being that guy. You feel me? Oh well, I got the best product here. I'm in the club. I'm standing on your couch because I got.
again, you're addressing. I don't want to use the N word, but I have to say it because I think the culture understands niggerdom. Like that's what we called it back growing up. Like
Yeah, we did.
we're not talking about niggerdom. We're not talking about cats trying to get it for the fame, get it for the. We can address that, and
But
we can
I see more
about that.
but I see more trying to do it that way than, well, I'm just doing this until I can start my own business and clean up my money.
I think you're gonna have a healthy balance of individuals who are.
I think there's definitely some out there. I know a few.
I'm sure.
I have a homeboy. I didn't even know he did it until like somebody else told me, like, yeah, you know, he do this on the side.
I wouldn't doubt that.
But he also, you know what? He also works 60 hours a week at his full-time job.
So there's your flip legit.
Yeah, so
I would say you have to be there. That life is not so black and white. You have to be very careful.
It's not. It's not black and white at all. But like I said, when we say, well, what they should do.
When I say the word should, I mean right.
What they're supposed to do. All right, we'll remove should what they're supposed to do.
Because I don't want to conflate the issues of like, well, I don't really need a mansion, but I want one. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about I need comfortable living to provide for my family. I need to be provided opportunities to be able to do that. That is necessity. That is not some whimsical want. I need the opportunities to do that. You are not the government, the society. Y'all are not providing me those opportunities. Whose fault is it if I can't get a job done? Mine? It's my fault. If I can't go out and get a job, it's my fault.
So if I'm applying for jobs and I can't get a job, at some point I gotta ask me though, well, why? Other than it's just their fault, they won't, but why? What when you had trouble getting a job, you flicked burgers.
I did.
Because you needed to provide. You worked at a sex shop because you needed to provide.
These are facts.
You didn't just only say, well, no, I'm too good to work there.
But I thought it was bullshit that I had to take those avenues.
But you see, well, once again, you took that upon yourself to say, I'm not going to. And granted, I'm not trying to judge nor belittle anyone who does, who takes other routes. And I never want to come off that way. But if you take that route, no, well, you know, I chose this. This is I'm accountable for choosing this route. So Mike and Tracy, y'all chose, you know, to grind and try to build a brand and do this, that, and the third. But I chose not to do that. I chose to, you know, hit the block.
How much? So you're saying like if people end up getting jammed up because they took another route. I'm saying that is not an option for the majority. And like I said, you're going to have niggerdom. There are going to be people who are going to be, you're just going to do that because that's what you do. That's what you wanted to do. You saw a movie. You thought that was the vibe. And I'm not, whatever. Like I said, we can discuss those individuals. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about individuals who are like, I've exhausted every option. I've called every person. I've tried to dig and follow up on every opportunity, and nothing has materialized. It would be like the MS person. I've called every doctor. I've talked to every specialist. I've tried every form of insurance that is available to me. And I think you would say there aren't many in the social class that you're in. Right? So all these things I am actively trying. Too many times in one of the greatest countries on the planet, those people who are trying are coming up short, and it ain't their fault. I'm not concerned with the bullshit. That's fine. We could address that, and I don't have no problem talking about that. But that's not my focus, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about individuals who are actively trying every day to put the plays together, and this society does not reward people nearly as much. We are no longer growing up in this fairy tale of the American dream, white picket fence, dog, 2 kids, 8, right? Like that's not a thing anymore.
It's not. So at what point do we say, you know what? Fuck the American dream. Let me make my own dream.
I think you can't do that. What I will say, and like I've said on many times on the Done Podcast before, I am hopeful that people don't, and I mean people as a unit, the masses don't decide we're tired of trying. Because then you got a different problem on your hands. I would say, hey, lawmaker, hey, policy guy, hey, elected official, hey, institution of higher learning or healthcare institution, do the right thing. Because the more you put people's backs against the wall, the more you create a problem that I think many of the people running our country are unaware of.
So I'm gonna agree partially with what you said. No, I agree. I agree. They have things they're supposed to do, and absolutely, without a doubt, they should be held accountable for what they're supposed to do.
Right? Let's talk about that. There it is. There's the segue. Are they ever held accountable? Give me your elected official that's promised you the world, gets in office and does nothing.
And gives me the world. Absolutely. So now I guess that brings us to our next question. How do we hold their feet to the fire?
You can't. You're not in a position to.
I think as collectively we can be.
Twice. Impeach him twice. He still is the president.
I think collectively we can if we so choose to.
The R word?
I had to think about what was the R word for a second. I think collectively, not on a violent and bloody scale, but there definitely can be some sort of R word.
People could say whatever they want about the Capitol rioters, and I would be inclined to agree. That is what this is headed to. Because you're putting people in positions where they're not being heard. And you're just,
and these are people who the dominant society, as we say. That's who did that. But you know what? They found a way to hold a system they thought failed them accountable.
And in a way that, again, nobody wants to see that. And so, Mr. Politician, Mr. Elected Official, Mrs. VP or Mrs. Governor, you should hear and take heed to these signs, because people are fed up. People want to be able to work one job. People want to be able to provide for their family. And when you put people's back against the corner on those mainstream issues, you create a problem I don't think you want, and I don't think that they're necessarily aware of.
I don't think they're aware of it, but it's a necessary evil.
Explain that. What is a necessary evil for them to fuck the majority of us over? No,
I think the other way, the R word. I think it's growingly becoming a necessary evil.
I didn't say that. You said that. I don't want no parts of that, Mr. Government Official. I don't want. Listen, I'm just a.
I mean, because is that not what this great nation was founded on, though?
Oh, it definitely was. It definitely was. It's almost like people forgot. It's almost like people have forgotten that you put people in a position where we're still fighting. And I mean, I can't even count the years. How many years have the working class individuals, the majority of Americans, been fighting for $15 an hour minimum wage? That's been in the news for quite some time now, hasn't it?
Yeah. And they keep saying it's coming. Wait.
Go ahead.
Wait. They keep saying it's coming. So at some point, collectively, the workforce has to just say, I'm not doing this no more. But they got to do it collectively. I could go to work and be like, yo, I'm not doing this for this rate no more. I'm out of here. But it's just like, well, they get somebody to replace Mike.
And they will.
But now, if all 40 of us do it, guess what?
So I'm talking about, do you feel, and I'll ask you this question, do you feel the temperature changing where, hey man, more people collectively might be getting on that type of time?
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming a little more slowly than I'd like to see it, but it's coming because it's necessary. It is absolutely necessary.
You are taking the choice out of it. If you did the right thing and raised wages as cost of living in certain places went up, and the government will get task force and teams to study everything else. How is it that you have people living in some of these places on $11, $12, $13 an hour, and you know that they can't afford to feed a family? Do you know they can barely afford to feed themselves on a salary like that in certain places in this country? And you know that's another thing. It bothers me about the naivete. But I will tell you this. I want to warn all of our elected officials, people in power, administrators, houses, senates, congressmen, congresswomen. Do the right thing, man. That is black and white. Right? Wrong. You have the power. Do the right thing. And don't hide behind, the Senate gave me only 49, but I needed 51 or 52 or whatever little game y'all want to play and hide behind the numbers and the policy. Do the right thing. That's simple. How we gonna wrap this? Wrap it up. Give me.
We solution based.
Yeah, give me the overarching thing to accountability.
Accountability. I'm gonna start off with using an example. Like I said, I start off on a small.
I'm gonna tell you bugging on that 40% too.
I mean, you feel how you feel. I feel how I feel.
All right.
I
feel like you're bugging. I just wanted to let that be known. I wanted to put that out there ASAP.
I feel like, we got to put our own feet to the fire sometimes, and let us.
I respect it.
But I'm gonna start off with a small example of accountability. Like I said, I always mention this, and I do it for a reason. It's a shameless plug. I coach a full contact women's football team. I also played semi-pro for years, so. One of our coaches, I'm retired now, but one of our other coaches, one of our owners of the team, our head coach, he still plays. He plays for a team called Mississippi Dynasty, team I played for. Mm-hmm. And Saturday he had a game. They had a game in Pensacola, Florida. The Dynasty hadn't lost since maybe like 2018, maybe 2017. Hadn't lost a football game. They had a game Saturday and they lost. Wasn't just his fault, of course, because it's a team sport. But he was ejected for the game in the first quarter. For whether it was really his fault or not, he was ejected from the game. When he got to practice Sunday, the girls made him bear crawl 100 yards. Now, keep in mind, he's the owner of the team. He's the head coach. But he was held accountable for his actions because you preached this and then you did this. So he's held accountable for those actions, and he took the punishment. And even when I spoke to him, he's like, "Nah, that's my fault. I can't get kicked out the game at this point. It makes a difference."
Yeah.
And so some things like the point of that was it after speaking to a few people, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. He got kicked out for whatever reason, but he didn't do what they said he did. Whatever the point was with that. But he held himself accountable. So we still have to do that. So sometimes the dominant society or the powers that be, they're not going to do what they're supposed to do. They haven't been doing what they're supposed to do. So we have to, like I said, hold ourselves accountable. Look for something to bring us out. Now we got to do something to bring us out, and we got to put on our shoulders to do that. And I feel that. I feel strongly about that. I know your argument is going to be counter to that, but you put it on your shoulders to do something to help bring us out. So, I think more of us need to. And like I said, everybody's not meant to come. Everybody's not meant to make the journey, but look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and see what can you do to be better every day.
I am not here to forego any sort of individual accountability. That is not my intention. That is not my mentality. That's not my thought process. I don't share that sentiment with my friends, as we've mentioned here tonight, right? We talk about self-accountability and it's on me. I need to make it change. With that being said, how I react and relate and the relationship I had with systematic structures, I will not go to them and tell them that, hey, I need to do better. right? So I do got to throw one more question back at you because I am curious to hear your answer. If your employees, you're a leader on your job. If your employees came and voiced some of the injustices or inadequacies with your company, would you be like, you got to change your mentality? You need to work harder so you can go up in the corporation, or you got to work hard to go apply for more jobs, right? Like, or would you? No, the company needs to then fix those inadequacies. Which way would you direct an employee to think? Like, okay, it's like, I got to change, I got to get a new job, or I got to elevate myself in this employment so we could bring in some other sucker that's got to deal with what I had to deal with, but I'm elevated, right? Where's the line?
The answer is yes to both. And here's why.
Mm-hmm.
So when say someone comes to me and voice a certain concern with merit, because some people just don't want to work. Let's just be real. Some people just don't want to work. So with merit,
the people we talking about,
of course, but I deal with both. With merit, I do bring it to the higher level. Yo, listen, this is what is being said. This is how we feel. And when I bring it to them, I say how we. So I don't put it on any individual like, oh, John feels this way. John feel like, yeah, I ain't treating him. No, this is how we feel.
You should do it that way, yeah.
Nah, this is how we feel. You said what I should do it which way?
Now you should do it with the we. It should be the we. It shouldn't.
Yeah, this is how we feel. Like, nah, this job can't be worked like this. If they say, well, tell them get out here and work it, and then tell me they can do it. You feel me? But on the same token,
that's a big one.
Chill out. That's something.
At a time. That's something different.
This is something different. But to finish my answer,
big concept. Joe Biden, come get this McDowell's burger flipping work, my brother. Please come get this McDowell's burger flipping work. And let me give you this $75 and see how you work. Let me see how you operate. Let me see how you flip it.
But so I do it that way, but I also tell people like, yo, nah, get you another job. Elevate from this. You're better than this. Like, do something different. Like, I have a good friend that works with me, that works with me, and I'm applying for such. Do that. If you need a recommendation, I'm a lead. I got supervisor experience too on my other job. Let me know. I got you.
I think we've done that enough, though. There's only but so much, right? Because that doesn't fix the problem. You band-aided me. If she leaves or John is elevated to the next position, and then the person that comes in and does that role has the same complaint.
But like I said, we have to do it both ways. So I have to, yes, I go like at my position, I go to them like, yo, nah, this needs to be changed. We can't do this. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I work on an assembly line. I won't name the company, but I work on an assembly line. And it's just like, well, we could do the same job with less stations. So my argument every day when I go to work to my supervisor is like, nah, they need to bring the station back because you're complaining about such and such being missed.
Productivity.
Productivity,
yep.
You're bringing about such and such being missed, such and such defects. Oh, they didn't plug this up, but you put more on two separate individuals. So now, where it was a 3 or 4 job span, you got it to 2. You're giving them more work, the same amount of time. Nah, that's not going to work. So every day, that's my argument. But on the same token, hey, listen,
you kiss their ass.
Huh?
They can still tell you to kiss their ass too.
And they try to, but I'm willing to fight that fight. See, and that's the thing. Wait. No. I'm willing to fight that fight for them. But on the same token, I'm going to tell people, listen, you don't have to do all this. Like, you shouldn't have to do all this. So look for something better. So I'm not telling you, like, I'm fighting for you, but I don't want you to get complacent because I might be fighting a losing battle. And it's unfortunate, but no, I'm here fighting for you.
All right. Well, thank you for answering that question. I
Automatically.
I disagree with the majority of what was said, but I think because when you start to think about individual accountability, that one, my response, I guess, would be that one person can change, but the structure hasn't. And that's always been my point. That's always been my problem. Is even if with my mentality, I could take it and I can go make a better life for my family and my loved ones and my team, the structures that I leave behind when I elevate myself are still the same. They're still crippling people. And everyone ain't built like me. Everyone can't go through or grow through what I was able to grow through. And so instead of putting people in positions where it's like sink or swim, because often it feels like that to many of us. Often it feels like, hey man, I'm about to kick you off this building. Either you about to learn to fly or good luck. Concrete is hard down there. And that should not be, it can't be, I'm going to throw you off the Empire State Building. Learn to fly or hit the pavement. That often is the responsibility we put on the individual. And yes, fine, yes, we absolutely have to continue to try to elevate ourselves individually. But we definitely need to hold these systems, these people, these leaders accountable. And currently, our system does not allow us to do that. It just doesn't. All right, it just doesn't.
I know we keep trying to end this, but now the next question is, so how do we do that?
Yeah, that is a podcast. That's
another episode, huh?
For another episode. But in short, I would say you gotta change policies, right? The thought, how we look at leadership,
we know what should happen to change that, or what's supposed to happen to change that. But how do we change that? How do we hold their feet to the fire?
I'm not gonna say it because I think
undertone.
It is happening. And I'm begging our leadership to do the right thing so that we all don't have to go through something very ugly to get you to do the right thing. Right, other than that, I'm gonna say, right, I mean, the same old tire of vote for your local officials, make sure you're participating in their government, right? The same old stuff that just seems to not work. In fact, it just seems to be getting worse.
I say go out there, start your own system, run it the way it should be run, or the way you feel it should be run, to make that change. Eventually, if enough of us do that, we have our own overall system, our own overall community, and go from there.
Yeah, but then people will question, right? I would wonder, is that still America? I don't want to do that. I want the ideals that this country promises us all.
I think we look at America as something inanimate, like it's just a thing. This is what it is. This is what we want. But I look at America as an organism. It has to continue to grow. So it might not be the America we learned about or we grew through, but now we change what it is, right? Because at one point America was, slave labor. That's it. That's how we living. But we had to change. Thank God we had to change from that. Some people mindset is still that's what it needs to be, but no, we had to change from that because it grew. It's an organism. It's an organism. It needs to keep growing from that. You feel me? If you're not growing, you're dying, right?
I mean, I guess
if you're not growing, you're dead.
I guess we're about to find out. I'm interested to hear what all Done listeners are going to say about this one. This should be a nice debate for people to have. I mean, so we'll end it like this. The listeners out there, you tell us, man, who's responsible for your success? Is it you? Are you responsible? You can just wake up, flip that switch in your brain and say, I'm going to get it. Or do you feel that there are some external controls out there prohibiting you, no matter how hard you try, to get to that mountaintop? And on that note, this podcast is all done.
Done.
Stay classy.
Get out of here.
Don't you go off now. That's right. Don't go off. Yeah. Nah, don't you go off now. Look, hey, y'all, I woke up this morning living my best life. And if it isn't, at least I gave it my best try. I'm just enjoying the moments cause ain't no next time. Trying to slide with my people on the west side. Yeah, moving different than all the rest cause I'm about doing it different, new vision.